We just had our final group stage of FNCS and we had a whole bunch of big names make grand finals like MrSavage, but what is going on with his spawn situation? Is he versing Veno at Mars Meadows or has he now switched drops? We also had some big names like Acorn, Ages, and Pollo almost not qualify out of groups. Had a lot of people, myself included, very nervous. Am I worried about this for grand finals? Does this mean Pete is just going to walk away with NA grands after Clicks and Acorn's teams have both struggled? I'm also going to break down the grand finals drop maps as they are right now, who's contested, because some really big names are contested right now, and who is looking good coming into grands. There's a lot to talk about. Let's jump into it. We'll kick off talking about who qualified out of EU, and we're always going to start with the big names, Vidil, Savage, and Rezon qualifying in their third game. They started off really well. They got a 9 elim second in game one, almost the game one and done, straight to grands, but they had to play a couple more games out. Now, second game was a little bit rough. I was feeling really good after game one, 9 elim second. That's great consistency points. They can clearly get a win, but game two, 0 elim 24th. But it came down to MrSavage not realizing that the trucks explode. He was told that by someone at the start of the season, the trucks don't explode, you don't take damage. I think what the person got confused with is there's no fire in competitive, but you definitely still take damage if the truck explodes. That happened, Savage went down, but they bounced back very quickly. They got the first south zone of the tournament. It was finished over near Mars Meadows. They got an 8 elim win, and now they're through to grands. Now, this is interesting because, again, we had Frodoxy not qualified to grands out of group 2. So you're probably thinking, Aussie, MrSavage, now to grands, he's going to get uncon masked. But I did just talk about it. Veno's already claimed the mask. So what does that mean for Savage? Savage said he's going to contest Veno. He is going to stay there. 12 out of 12, they are staying masked. They've now changed their mind. MrSavage, Rezon, and Vidil have decided to go to Veno's old drop, which is the mountain next to Mars Meadows. Now, we already had another team who qualified out of this group, Akira, Kurama, and Werix, who won game one. They came out with a 15 kill win in game one, so showing this team has a lot of firepower. They made a tweet saying they were also going to go the mount that Veno was dropping on, but Akira deleted it. Now, I don't know if Akira knew that Savage already claimed it before posting this. I'm guessing they probably thought it was uncontested because Veno was going Mars Meadows. Once they saw Savage was there, they decided not to, but that is one team I have eyes on to see if they potentially go back and switch back to the MrSavage drop spot. Now, I actually had the chance to talk to MrSavage and Veno in the same call, trying to squash the beef a little bit after whatever happened a couple days ago with them contesting each other. But turns out Veno has said, I am not going back to the mountain, even if Frodoxy somehow makes it to grand. So we still have 3 spots left for last chance qualify. If Frodoxy qualifies through last chance, he is going to go Mars Meadows. And apparently Veno isn't leaving. He wants to stay Mars Meadows. He's happy to take it to 12 out of 12 games at grands contested. He is not going back to the mountain, according to him. So hopefully Savage, Vidil, and Rezon should have the mountain uncontested. Now, it's a good drop. I think it's definitely a good enough drop for Savage's team to make land if they play well. The rotates are very similar to Mars Meadows. The positions are very similar. It's a good drop. The only issue is whether a team takes the south split. So the way the mountain works is if you get all of the mountain loot, including the area to the south, but a lot of teams like to take that split, leaving you with only the mountain, and that's where the drop becomes a little bit weaker. So we'll see whether MrSavage can claim it. Again, I was talking to him in the call and he said, look, if someone drops there, we're just going to key them. Mars Meadows is either going to be uncontested where they're going to take a wilder loot, or it's going to be, Veno versus Frodoxy, which means they're not going to have time to third party. If a team drops in the south of the mountain, we'll just fight them. Like, we're a very confident fighting team. So super excited to see what that means for Savage. We might finally have a grand finals where MrSavage is uncontested. I don't want to curse it, but it's looking like it might actually be a possibility. And if you haven't followed Fortnite for long, this is a big deal. My man has been competing since literally the very beginning of Fortnite, and I've known one time, I think, where he got uncontested, the cactus season on NA, where they removed the cactus. So come on, just one season for Savage, please. As for the rest of Group 3, like I said, Akira's team came out and won Game 1. We had Savage's team win Game 3, but we had Pix, Dam, and Damus, the Polish powerhouses from Pump Power. Man, it's fun to say that. They won game number 2. They got a 12 kill win. They absolutely popped off. Then game number 3 went to Vidil and Savage. Game 4 was Fastroki, Focus, and Yanis. Now, Yanis' team was going contested Outlaw Oasis. Once MrSavage qualified out of Mars Meadows, they went to Mars Meadows for one game. One game is all it took, and they locked in their 9 elim win to qualify. Then in the 5th and final game, we had the Italians win it, Artie, Falix, and Darkies. Now, I haven't heard too much about Artie and Falix. I do know about Darkies, but I do want to give a shout out to Falix. Hope I'm pronouncing that properly, who is, I believe, potentially the first dad to grand finals, at least on EU or NA. I'm 99% sure that is the first father to grand finals. I don't know how old my man is, but he tweeted out quad grands with last minute trio at Artie at Darkie's dad arrow grand. So I can't 100% verify this. I don't know why he would lie about this. It seems legit to me, but hey, if my man is a dad in grands, congratulations. That is awesome. We did still have some other big teams that needed to get through on consistency. We had Moneymaker, Fanayan, and Faded get the most consistent spot, 208 points. And I want to give a special shout out to Moneymaker, getting a 5-kill 6th in game 2 as a solo since 3rd zone. Basically, since a little bit after spawn, Moneymaker managed to solo clutch a 5 elim 6, the points they needed to qualify. Because if you look down the leaderboard, 10th place was 202 points. 2 eliminations, 6 points is what separated 10th from 6th. So really, really close group here. And there was some big names in it. So Moneymaker took the first spot. Then we had Pink, Nebs, and Kira. They did really, really well out of Demon Dojo. I think this team could do big things in grand finals. We had Shark, Trulex, and Noah Riley, who needed a bit of a comeback, slow start, but they did get a 5th and a 2nd, an 8 elim 2nd in their last game to clutch it up. Very awesome to see from them. Then we had Thomas. Wouldn't have been a grand finals without Thomas. Last season was a weird one. That was a throwaway. We'll write it off. Thomas was absolutely beaming with the drum gun from the fields, 204 points alongside Uppel and Panzer. Then we had Zhu, Finnick, and Ziandi take the last spot on 202. Now we had Anas, Sined, and Refsguard, 3 very, very long-term veteran players finishing in 11th. Super sad to see, especially for Refsguard, who's now come 11th in both group stages this chapter. The last 2 seasons has missed out on making grand finals by 1 single place. So I'm definitely cheering on Refsguard in the last chance qualifier. Really hope he can pull off the qualification. We did have some big teams that I thought would do better further down the leaderboard. Wheaton, Frizzy, and Ilusha again tying in 11th place, coming in 12th overall. Goonbra not making it, meaning Mappy didn't qualify through. So I do feel really, really bad for Vox, Clement, and Splick, who are actually the highest consistency team going into the last game. Got a 1 elim 29th and went from being 6th overall, dropping all the way down to 13th and not qualifying. The Frenchies are going to be very, very upset with that one. Moving on over to NA, this was the least stacked group statistically of NA. We had over half this lobby never having made a grand finals before. We had a few tier 1 teams. We had Pollo's team, Reed's team, and Cooper's team. And I thought this is going to be the easiest glide straight through to grands for all these big teams. And it started off that way. We had game 1 won by Kanata, Bolts, and Sphinx. They got a clean 4 elim win. Nothing too flashy, not double digits, but they got the job done straight through to grand finals. Then we had Reed, Cooper, and Curly come out next. It was their chance after getting a 7 elim 2nd game 1. So they almost won game 1, lost to Kanata, came out with a 12 elim win game 2. I was like, sweet, awesome. Now it's Aegis, Acorn, and Pollo's turn. Oh no. Aegis, Acorn, and Pollo actually had us thinking they might not make grand finals. They left it until a game 5 win, and going in to the 5th game, they were not qualified. They did not have enough consistency points. They were doing well. I think they were the 2nd most consistent team, but if they went down early, they would have missed out on grand finals at least through groups and had to go play last chance. They did manage to clutch it up with that 9 elim win in the last game, but it was not a dominant performance. Again, we've just had this with Clicks a couple days ago. Clicks' team just qualifying in 10th. Now Acorn's team just qualifying with the last game win. We had Malabuka again getting 10th on EU. It's kind of weird to see these big teams struggle in these groups that are considerably easier than even just the Div 1 finals lobbies. We've been seeing them dominate, and I think there is a factor of that as well. You can just have a bad day. It doesn't mean your team is washed, terrible. You're not going to win grands now. It's kind of how Fortnite goes. It's how battle royales go. A few pros were actually talking about this that I overheard as well. Iomzo saying that it's just based on different teams being around you, positioning different spots. It's weirder trying to get surge because teams that you're used to then getting tags with, if they're at Seaport City, you're over at Mars Meadows, for example, you know the rotations they're going to make normally. I know that kind of starts trading on that surge trading conversation, and you can fall wherever you want on that. I'm not touching it, but usually teams are positioned in somewhat similar spots. It's been like that since the beginning of Fortnite. That's why scrims exist. You want to know when teams rotate around you and where they position so you can either fight them, avoid them, or at least take it into your game plan. When you've got a bunch of teams you've never versed before, that game plan goes out the window. So I think teams like Peterbot, who just run at people regardless of whoever it is, their strategy stays the same and they still dominate, but you do see some of these big teams struggling. So a lot of people asking me, oh, am I now scared that, you know, Acorn, Pollo, Aegis have no chance of beating Pete? There's no way they win next grands again. No, I'm going to take Div 1 finals performances against grands level players as a better indication of how well a team will do in grands than groups. But it was a little bit concerning. I'm not going to pretend I wasn't getting nervous towards the end there. We did also have Aoxy, Jojo, Fishy, and Pikes take game 3, another team I predicted to do well. That was 4 of my top 5 prediction. Then we had Cynics, Polar, and Decay take out the 4th game, and then Acorn got 5th game. But unfortunately, one of the teams that I picked in my top 5 didn't even make it through on consistency. It was a weird group. We did have some big teams make it through, though. Jagu's team out of uncontested Lone Wolf got 291 points. Silic, Jagu, and Kingling absolutely dominating. I think this is Jagu's and Silic and Kingling's first grand, so I think they've made made maybe 1 grands before. So very new team when it comes to competitive, a lot of creative potential in that trio. Then we had Noah, Chaos, and Kaz. Really excited to see for them. They were supposed to be going Seaport uncon, started getting triple and quadruple conned, then managed to go Hopeful Heights after Kanata qualified game 1. That was a blessing, as Chaos and Noah know that dropped really well after going there all of last season. They ended up qualifying. We had Eulogy, Phenom, and Yusuf, Jay, Zackles, and Polis, and then Catman, Amplify, and Laws is taking it. We had Seek, Dash, and Vera, team that I had in my top 5, not qualifying at all in 11th on 158, over 20 points behind qualification. Not sure what happened to this team. They went down in 20th, 24th, and 25th in the first 3 games before getting an 8-kill 4th and an 8-kill 2nd, almost bringing it back, but just falling short after what is definitely an underwhelming performance for that trio. Now, like I said, we do have a couple days of eval cups, but we're into last chance. This is a chance for anyone to play FNCS. As long as you're eligible to play tournaments, you can play. It's not Division 1 only, which has me a little bit concerned for the cheaters. We'll see how we go. The solo cups have been pretty brutal this season, so I'm not entirely sure what Epic's plan is for this one. I hope it's all good. I hope the best teams come out on top. I hope it's not ruined, but there are a few big teams who now need to make it through. We also have big news of a big name returning. This is like his 15th time returning, unretiring, retiring. We have Mero announcing he's going to be playing last chance qualifier alongside Duke, so another GOAT returning to the game, and apparently they were going to be playing with Noxy. I don't really know how real this was. It looks like they ended up not playing with Noxy now. It was supposed to be Noxy, Mero, and Dukes, but they've now said that they're looking for one again. So Mero, Dukes are looking for one for last chance qualifier, which should be super fun. I'm really excited to watch it again. I'm just letting you guys know there is no broadcast for last chance qualifier finals, but I am going to jump in replays for both EU and NA, do my best to cast it, go replay mode, kind of dust off the microphone. It should be a fun time, but I am a little bit concerned for how the cheaters are going to go, but hopefully we can get through opens, top 33, making finals, 3 games. There's not a lot of spots, but we have had big teams make it out of last chance and go on to dominate. Vanya, Pixie, and Marius didn't make it last season through groups. They ended up making it through last chance, getting the last win, the final spot in grands, and then got a 3rd. So there's potential. If your favorite team or favorite pros haven't made it through groups, there is still the chance for the Cinderella run. It has happened before. Speaking of grands, I'm not going to do an entire prediction video. I will be doing that in the near future. I want to get the last 3 teams from last chance before I make a prediction video, but we do have our early grand finals drop maps, and I want to talk about the contestations less so than just the uncontested drops, right? So let's look off with NA. We have Zhu, Ziandi, and Finnick going up against Yanis, Focus, and Fastroki at Outlaw. Yanis, unfortunately, cannot get Outlaw uncontested, even after groups trying to lock it down. We have Tayson, Chicho, and Hriss got up against Chap, Teeny, and Skivvy. So a lot of like ex-teammates versus each other there because of all the swapping these teams did earlier in the season. But Tayson up against Chap at Crime City. That's going to be a big one. We have Grip A, Glubshy, and Prax going up against Sanguild, Jewel, and Titty at Magic Mosses. We have Stormy Ride, Arco, and Headstep going up against Moneymaker, Fanai, and Faded. And then Zara, Zangi, and Rickball over at Whiffy Wharfs, and then the South Whiffy split. And that's it so far. Again, we're missing 3 teams, but anyone else I did not mention in grands is uncontested. Cammy, MrSavage, Veno, Thomas, Mixon, they're all uncontested right now. You can pause the video here and look at the map if you want. I'm only going to go through the con teams. I will go through all of it when I actually do my predictions. Now, moving on over to NA, we have Fusiac, Maniac, and Thetic going up against Noah W Plays, Chaos, and Kaz at Magic Mosses. We have Enough, Hayes, and Mafia going up against Dolzier, Nat, and Aiden over at the RV split just near Lone Wolf Lair. Then we have Eulogy, Phenom, and Yusuf going up against Donnie, Joji, and Craze over at the bridge. We have Silic, Jagyu, and King going up against Vorteca, Bacon, and Nerface. And then we have Jay, Zackles, Polis going up against Evan, Xander, and Sandman at Brutal Boxcast. Again, that is it right now. Every other big team is uncontested. You've got Muzz, you've got Clicks, Peterbot, Bryce, Acorn, Bucky, Booger, anyone I haven't mentioned, they're unconned. Again, you can pause, but I'll do a full prediction video after we get our last 3 teams because that can change things a lot. If all of a sudden Feroxy qualifies like we talked about, all hell's going to break loose, everything's going to change. So I'm waiting to do a full prediction video until we have that, but I want to give you guys a little bit of a teaser to what Grands is because it's less than 7 days away now. We have less than a week until Grand Finals.